Welcome to online CT class. So in today's class we'll discuss synopsis of oscillations and waves. So first thing, oscillations. Any to and fro motion is considered as oscillation. During oscillation, a body retraces its path in the forward as well as backward direction. So oscillatory motion is periodic motion where the motion of a body repeats itself again and again at regular intervals of time. Any motion which repeats at regular intervals of time is said to be periodic motion. So rotatory motion is also a periodic motion, but in case of oscillation there is to and fro motion. So that's the difference. So all oscillatory motions will be periodic, but all periodic motions need not be oscillatory. Then the definite time interval after which the motion repeats itself, that is what we call it as time period. So per second how many times it oscillates, so that is called frequency. So frequency and time period are reciprocally related. F is equal to 1 by t, and we define a quantity called angular frequency omega is equal to 2 pi f. So you can write it as 2 pi by t, where t is time period, because f is equal to 1 by t from this. So frequency is measured in hertz, time period is measured in seconds, and omega is angular frequency, it is measured in radian per second. So from this, t is equal to 2 pi by omega. So coming to simple harmonic motion. So simple harmonic motion is a special case of oscillatory motion. All oscillatory motions are not simple harmonic. It's a simplest kind of oscillatory motion. A particle is said to be executing simple harmonic motion if its acceleration is directly proportional to its displacement, and the acceleration is always directed towards the equilibrium position. So if we consider a particle oscillating about a point, so it goes to this extreme and come back and goes to this extreme. So it will be oscillating between these 2 points. So let's say this is minus a, this is plus a. So between minus a and plus a, this O is the equilibrium position. So a particle is said to execute simple harmonic motion if acceleration of the particle at every point, it is directly proportional to displacement. A is directly proportional to displacement. Displacement is measured from the equilibrium, or what we call it as mean position, and always it is directed towards equilibrium position. So it should be A is proportional to minus x. So if x is measured in this direction, acceleration is this way. If x is measured in this direction, acceleration is this way. Always it is directed towards mean position. So this is the definition of simple harmonic motion. Acceleration of a particle should be proportional to negative of its displacement. Coming to force law in simple harmonic motion. So acceleration is proportional to x, so force should be also proportional to x. So F is equal to ma, that is equal to minus kx. So this kind of a force which is always directed towards mean position is called restoring force. And notice one thing, this force or acceleration, neither of them is constant, it is proportional to x. As displacement changes, force is also changing. So here k is a positive constant. Negative side indicates only direction of force. So m is mass of the particle, x is displacement from the mean position, and a is acceleration of the particle. So from this you can solve for a is equal to minus k by m into x. So when it is k by m into x, so standard equation says a is equal to minus omega square into x. Comparing these two, you will get omega square is equal to k by m. So omega is equal to root of k by m. So this is how we can calculate the angular frequency for a simple harmonic motion in any general case. So find the equation for acceleration. So coefficient of minus x should be omega square. So that's how we find the frequency for any simple harmonic motion. So coming to terms associated with simple harmonic motion. So first one is oscillation. Then displacement. So displacement is always measured from the mean position, and amplitude, it is maximum displacement of the body from the mean position on either side. Then period of motion, it is definite time interval after which the motion repeats itself. So frequency is number of oscillations per second. Angular frequency is omega, that is 2 pi f or 2 pi by t. Then phase. Phase of a particle executing simple harmonic motion is a quantity which represents the state of motion of the particle with respect to its position and direction of motion. So coming to equation of linear simple harmonic motion. So for linear simple harmonic motion, the displacement x is a function of time, can be written as a cos omega t plus phi, where a is amplitude, omega is angular frequency, and phi is called phase constant. So if we consider this omega t plus phi, so that is called total phase of the particle. It is called total phase of the particle, and phi is initial phase. So displacement is x of t and E is amplitude. Or the displacement can also be represented as sin omega t. So a sin omega t or a cos omega t. So totally a simple harmonic motion is represented by a sinusoidal function. So it is represented by a sinusoidal function. So if you differentiate the expression for displacement, you will get velocity. If I take y is equal to a sin omega t, if I differentiate it, I will get v is equal to a omega cos omega t. Or you can arrive at this v is equal to omega into root of a square minus y square. So in this regard, v maximum value of velocity will be a omega and minimum value of velocity will be 0. See, at y is equal to a, that is at what we call it as extreme position. If you put it here, v is equal to 0. At y is equal to 0, that is what we call it as mean position. Velocity is a omega. So this will be maximum value and this will be minimum value. So velocity of a oscillating particle is maximum at mean position and minimum at extreme position. Then coming to acceleration. So acceleration is also a variable. If you differentiate it again, you will get this. So acceleration is equal to minus omega square y d square y by dt square it is. Maximum value of acceleration is omega square a. And minimum value of acceleration is equal to 0. So acceleration is maximum at extreme position and it is 0 at mean position. So at extreme position, velocity is 0, acceleration is maximum, whereas at mean position, velocity is maximum, acceleration is 0. So time period of simple harmonic motion is given by 2 pi root of y by a, where y is displacement, a is acceleration. So this can be used to formulate the equation for a simple harmonic motion. Then force law in simple harmonic motion. So F is equal to minus m omega square x or k into x of t. So omega is equal to root of k by m, we had reduced it earlier. So time period will be equal to 2 pi root of L by g for simple pendulum. So these constants turn out to be L by g. So since the particle subjected to simple harmonic motion is subjected to a restoring force which is generally conservative and also it is in motion. So hence it will have both potential energy as well as kinetic energy. So potential energy of a particle at any instant is given by half m omega square y square, where y is displacement of the particle from the equilibrium or mean position, whereas kinetic energy is given by half m omega square into a square minus y square. So total energy is potential energy plus kinetic energy, that will turn out to be half m omega square a square. Notice one thing, for a given particle m is constant, for given oscillation omega is constant, and for given oscillation amplitude is also constant. So total energy is always conserved. So if you substitute for omega square, omega is equal to 2 pi f, you will get 2 pi square a square f square into m. So this is about energy of a particle in SHF. Now if you analyze this, at the mean position, potential energy will be equal to 0, whereas kinetic energy will be equal to half m omega square a square. Put y is equal to 0 here at mean position. Then what do you get? It will be equal to total energy. This is at mean position. Now at extreme position, potential energy will be equal to half m omega square. Put y is equal to a, you will get a square, so you will get this, that is total energy. If you put y is equal to a, this turns out to be 0 at extreme position. So at extreme position, kinetic energy is 0 and potential energy is total energy. At mean position, potential energy is 0, entire energy is kinetic energy. So energy also oscillates between maximum and minimum here, but total energy remains constant. So that is all about simple harmonic motion. Now moving on to the concept of waves. So wave is a propagating disturbance set up in a medium. So the simplest kind of the wave that can be found is a simple harmonic wave. So whenever a wave propagates through a medium, all particles of the medium are set into vibrations. If the vibrations executed by the medium particles are simple harmonic, then that kind of a wave we call it as simple harmonic wave. So wave is a propagating disturbance which is a delocalized one. So if it is propagating without changing its frequency and amplitude, then such a wave is called progressive wave. So equation for a progressive simple harmonic wave, if we consider, is given by y is equal to a sine of omega into t minus x by v plus phi, where v is velocity of the wave and x is displacement of the wave. This is displacement of wave and this is displacement of particle. So y is particle displacement, x is wave displacement and phi is phase constant, omega is angular frequency, a is amplitude of the wave. So this kind of a equation represents the progressive wave traveling along positive x-axis. So we can have different forms of progressive wave equation. So y is equal to a sine of 2 pi f into t minus x by v, phi is equal to 0 here, or a sine of 2 pi into t by t minus x by lambda. See, sine can be replaced by cosine function also. So cosine function is also a sinusoidal function. So here lambda is wavelength of wave, t is time period of wave. Then y is equal to a sine of 2 pi by lambda into vt minus x, y is equal to a sine of omega t minus kx. So all these are the different forms of wave equation. Here k is called propagation constant. So k is given by 2 pi by lambda. So it is called angular wave number. Then relation between phase difference and path difference. So phase difference between the two particles separated by distance delta x. Then delta x is called path difference. Delta phi is called phase difference. So we can prove that delta phi is equal to 2 pi by lambda into delta x, that is phase difference is equal to 2 pi by lambda into path difference, or path difference is equal to lambda by 2 pi into phase difference. So this is a very important relation which we will be using in wave optics also. So wave velocity and particle velocity. So wave velocity is the distance traveled by wave in 1 second. So it will be constant in a given medium. So within the medium it will always be remaining constant. It is given by v is equal to f lambda, where f is frequency and lambda is wavelength of light, that wavelength of the wave. Then the velocity of the particle executing simple harmonic motion, that is what we call it as particle velocity. It is a variable. So particle velocity is given by dy by dt, but wave velocity in a given medium is constant. So maximum value of particle velocity is u maximum, that is equal to a omega. It is same as what we had in the case of oscillation. So particle velocity is different from wave velocity. So similarly we can have particle acceleration. So particle acceleration will be du by dt, that is d square y by dt square. So maximum value of acceleration is a omega square. Then coming to intensity of a wave. So whenever a wave propagates, it transports energy and momentum. The quantity which represents the energy transported by the wave is intensity of a wave. So intensity of wave is defined as amount of energy transported per unit time through unit area of cross section. So it is given by I is equal to 2 pi square a square f square rho v, where rho is density of the medium, f is frequency, a is amplitude, v is wave velocity in the medium. The SI unit of intensity is watt per meter square. So I by v, if you take, it is called energy density of the wave. So this gives total energy of all the particles per unit volume of the medium. Next we will move on to principle of superposition. So if more than two waves act at a point, then each wave will make the particle vibrate according to its vibration. So let us say two progressive waves, y1 is equal to a sin omega t minus kx and y2 is equal to b sin omega t minus kx plus phi. They superpose each other at a point. Then the resultant displacement of the particle due to their superposition is a vector sum of the individual displacements, that is some r sin of omega t minus kx plus theta. Theta is some constant. So resultant vibration there will be vibration due to first wave, vibration due to second wave. So r is the resultant amplitude, that is given by root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos phi, where phi is the phase difference between the two superposing waves, and theta is the new phase difference, that is tan inverse of b sin phi divided by a plus b cos phi, where a and b are respective amplitudes. Now when phi is equal to 0, you will get r is equal to a plus b, and when phi is equal to pi, you will get r is equal to a minus b. So this is condition for your interference. When phi is equal to pi by 2, then r is equal to root of a square plus b square, and theta is tan inverse of b by a. So these are some of the observations. Now if you consider differential equation of a wave, it is given by d square y by dx square is equal to 1 by v square into d square y by dt square. So notice one thing, this here the displacement differentiation is with respect to x, that is wave displacement. Here differentiation is with respect to time. So they are different. Then coming to sound. Sound is the form of energy which produces sensation of hearing. So human ear is audible, it can sense the frequency range of 20 Hz to 20 kHz. It is called audible range. So just like other waves, sound also obeys laws of reflection. It undergoes interference, diffraction, but it cannot be polarized because sound is a longitudinal wave. Now velocity of sound in a medium is given by v is equal to root of E by rho. So this idea was deduced from dimensional analysis by Newton. So that's why it is called Newton's formula, where E is modulus of elasticity of the medium and rho is density of the medium. If the medium is solid, velocity is root of y by rho, where y is Young's modulus. If it is liquid, it should be b by rho, that is bulk modulus. Same will be the case with gases also, it will be bulk modulus. But for gases, bulk modulus turns out to be gamma into p, where gamma is ratio of specific heats of the gas and p is pressure of the gas. So this equation is called Newton's Laplace formula. Newton's Laplace formula. This is used to calculate speed of sound in air. Then intensity of sound is given by I is equal to 2 pi square a square f square rho into v. Unit of intensity is watt per meter square. Now coming to concept of beats. Suppose if two waves of slightly different frequencies are traveling in same direction, they superpose at a point. Then the intensity of sound heard is increased and decreased periodically. So that we call it as waxing and waning of intensity of sound. So this periodic waxing and waning of the intensity of sound due to superposition of two waves of nearly equal frequencies traveling in same direction is called beats. So there is alternate rise and fall of sound intensity. So number of times the resultant intensity of sound attains maximum value or minimum value in 1 second, that is called beat frequency. Human ear can sense maximum 10 beats per second. So if beat frequency is greater than 10 beats, we will not be able to hear the beats if it is greater than 10 beats per second. And beat frequency will be equal to difference in the frequency of the two waves. So human ear can sense only 10 beats per second. This is due to persistence of hearing. So persistence of hearing means any sound that falls on our eardrum will stay there for 1/10 of a second. So during this period, so another sound if it falls, ear will not be able to recognize it. So that is called persistence of hearing. Because of this we can sense only 10 beats per second. Now coming to stationary waves. Suppose if two identical waves propagating in opposite directions, identical in the sense amplitude is same, frequency is same, wavelength is same, they are traveling in exactly opposite direction along the same line. If they superpose, then the resulting pattern is called standing waves or stationary waves. So they are called stationary waves because they do not propagate in any direction. So whatever the energy is propagated in forward direction, it will be carried backwards. So net energy transportation is 0. So equation for a stationary wave is somewhat of this form: 2a dash cos of 2 pi x by lambda into sine of 2 pi t by t. See, so far we had a single function with both x and t for a wave, but here there is a cosine function with x and sine function with t. So it has been separated and they are multiplied. So here a dash is the amplitude of the reflected wave. So intensity of wave is proportional to a square always. So whenever a stationary wave is formed, one wave if it is traveling this way, then other wave due to reflection it superposes over this, then what we get is a stationary wave pattern. So this is your stationary wave pattern. So if you observe the particles at these positions, so they are permanently at rest, so it will give you a still effect. So that is why it is called stationary wave. So these points which are permanently at rest, they are called nodes, and these points where the amplitude is maximum, they are called antinodes. So for minimum intensity, amplitude should be minimum. So these points of minimum intensity, that is minimum amplitude means here it is 0. So they are occurring at a distance from the rigid support. Let us say this is the starting point. So if we take distance from here as x for any arbitrary point at lambda by 4, 3 lambda by 4, 5 lambda by 4, 7 lambda by 4 and so on, you will get these points. So these points are called nodes. So node is a point in a stationary wave where displacement is 0 at all the time. So coming to condition for antinode, where there is x is equal to 0, x is equal to lambda by 2, lambda, 3 lambda by 2, 2 lambda and so on, at these points you will get maximum amplitude, they are called antinodes. Now coming to vibrations of air column. So air column means air that is enclosed in a pipe. So pipe can be of two kind, closed pipe or open pipe. So they are called organ pipes. So closed pipe is a pipe which is closed at one end. Open pipe is a one which is open at both the ends. So if we consider a closed organ pipe, there the smallest frequency you can produce is V by 4L, where L is length of the pipe. So that is called fundamental frequency. Then the frequencies higher than that, they are called overtones. So first overtone is 3 times the fundamental frequency. Second overtone is 5 times the fundamental frequency. So frequencies are in the ratio 1:3:5. Next will be 7 and so on. So the frequencies which are integral multiples of fundamental, they are called harmonics. So in case of closed pipe, only odd harmonics are present. So coming to open pipe, in case of open pipe, fundamental frequency is given by V by 2L. So next first overtone, which is a second harmonic, that is 2F1, next one will be 3F1 and so on. So in case of open organ pipe, frequencies will be in the ratio 1:2:3:4. So here we say all harmonics are present. So notice one thing. So this is second harmonic, third harmonic, fourth harmonic. Second harmonic here is first overtone. This is second overtone, third overtone. Whereas in the case of closed pipe, this is first harmonic, this is third harmonic, fifth harmonic, seventh harmonic. Even harmonics are missing here. So third harmonic is first overtone, fifth harmonic is second overtone, seventh harmonic is third overtone. So overtones are frequencies which are higher than fundamental, whereas harmonics are frequencies which are integral multiple of fundamental. So moving on to laws of vibrations of a stretched string. So in case of a stretched string also you can produce stationary waves. So fundamental frequency of a stretched string is given by 1/2L root of T by M, where T is tension in the string and M is mass per unit length or linear density of the string. So laws of vibration of string says, first law is law of length. Frequency is inversely proportional to length when tension and mass per unit length are kept constant. Law of tension, that is F is proportional to root T when L and M are constant. Law of mass, F is inversely proportional to root of mass per unit length when L and T are constants. Then coming to concept of resonance. So resonance is a phenomena in which the natural frequency of the object matches with the applied frequency, or applied frequency matches with the natural frequency, then the amplitude, resulting amplitude will be largest. So this kind of oscillation is called forced oscillation. Resonance is a special case of forced oscillation. So at resonance, amplitude will be maximum, so energy transferred through the body will be maximum. Now coming to Doppler effect. So Doppler effect is apparent change in the frequency of the sound heard due to relative motion between source and the listener. So the formula for apparent frequency is given by, general formula is F dash divided by V plus or minus VW plus or minus VL divided by V plus or minus VW plus or minus Vs into F, where V is speed of sound, VW is speed of medium, VL is speed of listener, Vs is speed of source, and F is original frequency. So here we can make use of a sign convention. So let us say here is the observer and here is the source. So direction from source to observer is taken as positive. Source to observer is taken as positive. All velocities in this direction are positive, all velocities in this direction are negative. So if the source is approaching the observer, frequency increases. If the source is receding away from the observer, frequency decreases. That's the general trend. And the difference between the actual frequency and the apparent frequency, that is what we call it as Doppler shift. So that is all about now Doppler effect, and the concept of waves. So that completes the synopsis of waves and oscillations. Thank you.